Alright, we're making a aggression cookies, and we're going to mix the batter right now. And the first thing we're going to throw in here is flour.
3/4 of a cup of flour. Next we'll put in 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar.
And then we're going to throw in a 1.5 cups of oatmeal.
Three-fourths of a cup of butter, or 1.5 steaks, whichever way you want to top of it.
Is what we have. All our ingredients are in there. And now all we have left to do is mix.
And now we are mixing all the ingredients together. And when we are done, we are going to be able to see what ingredients we can still pick out with our eyes and what ingredients have mixed in with the others. The mixing is all done, and when you take a little bit, mostly all you can make out is the oatmeal, if you can see that. Everything else is stirred in pretty well together, and you can't really separate the brown sugar or the baking powder or anything like that. So now we are going to put them in the oven and do some more experimenting. While the cookies are baking, we are going to talk about the differences between baking soda and baking powder, and why some cookies and recipes require baking powder and some require baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, and when it is mixed with an acid, it releases carbon dioxide. And baking powder, the ingredients is baking soda with a few other things like starch, and it is considered a dry acid. There are two different types of baking powder. There is single-acting baking powder and double-acting baking powder. And as you can see, we use the double-acting baking powder. The main reaction that baking powder has, it will release gas as soon as it hits dough, and whenever it is in an oven with heat, it will release more gas while it is baking. Another difference between baking powder and baking soda is baking soda is more of a base. It brings a more bitter taste to cookies or cake or whatever you are making with it, while baking powder contains an acid and also a base. So like we've been learning in Chapter 7 with acids and bases, it will have a neutral effect whenever the acid and base is equaled out. So baking powder is used more whenever you don't really want that bitter taste, and baking soda is used whenever you want a little bit more of a bitter taste, so it's not too sour. Cookies, and they are halfway baked, and as you can see, they are rising. When we first started, they were just little balls, and now they are pretty big, and that has to do with the flour and the baking soda that makes the cookies rise.
Alright, this is our final product. The cookies on the right are the good ones, and the cookies on the left are the burnt ones. And as you can tell, leaving them in for about double the time will cause an effect where all the moisture is sucked out of the cookies and they're dry, hard, and a little darker in color, and which the temperature and leaving them in longer would let the chemical reaction last longer, and in that case evaporate all the moisture out of the cookies.
Here's our final product of the good cookies, and we broke one apart, and you can see the oatmeal the most out of all the other ingredients, and the color of the brown sugar. That's how the cookies are this nicely colored brown, and you can see some moisture on the cookies, and that's probably the butter that's in them, and what's holding them together would be the flour and the baking powder.
Cookies on the right are soft and brown. Cookies on the left aren't soft. They're brown, but they're like dark brown, like mahogany wood brown. And these just came out the oven, and they're hot. These ones, when they first came out, they were kinda hot, but they weren't like burning your fingers hot. I think it's because there was still butter left inside and other ingredients that kept the inside of the cookie and the outer surface cool for you to eat. These ones, there's no moisture.